This is the very first podcast for the Kershaw County Current. And my name is Patty Rose, along with Carrie Boyce. We own the Kershaw County Current. It's a digital newsletter, and I'm so excited to have our very first podcast guest. And I know your name, but if you would please tell our listeners your name.
Yes, I am John Cantey. I'm with First Palmetto Bank. I'm also the chairperson for Kershaw County Young Professionals, but I'm an assistant vice president with First Palmetto Bank. I do commercial consumer lending and also branch management over in Columbia and a little bit in Camden. So
I knew John growing up, and so this is really special to see you in such an important role for First Palmetto.
no, I appreciate it. I appreciate the trust that they have in me to do things and try and serve the community. So that's what I came back in Kershaw County to do.
Well, that leads me to a question. You graduated, I believe, from Wofford in 2021. Why did you want to come back to Kershaw County to live out your career, your life, that kind of thing?
It was just a simple idea of trying to reinvest in the place that built me. I had a lot of rich experiences in Camden, and there was a lot of people who couldn't wait to get out of town. I was somebody who wanted to come back to town and see the change that we always wanted to happen and make that happen. So, it's been fun to work for a bank just because you get to have the experiences, get to meet the influential people in the community that are making the change. And Camden's got a tremendous amount of growth, and that's one of the reasons why KCYP is so important right now is we're experiencing a lot of growth and we got to capitalize on that, and having in a group like this, trying to grow it and have some benchmark programming that we kind of lean on. That's been a big part of what we're trying to do as KCYP. So I just love Camden. I love seeing the growth that our city has, and it's been a fantastic 5 or so years living back in town.
That's awesome. So you referenced KCYP. Tell us what KCYP stands for and how it's affiliated. I know it's affiliated with the Kershaw County Chamber of Commerce, but how that relationship works.
Right. So KCYP is Kershaw County Young Professionals. It really exists as an incubator for our community's future leaders to connect, to grow, to serve, and to better ourselves and our community. The pillars that we focus on are networking, entrepreneurship, and servant leadership, and that's really what we focus our events around, is trying to network with other young professionals, get to know business leaders around us, and then do some community service on the side.
You mentioned the 3 pillars: networking, entrepreneurship, and leadership development. Can you give us examples of how your events and programming support each of these areas?
Yes. So just last week, we had one of our flagship events, our Lunch with Leaders. That's a simple luncheon where leaders come, speak intimately with our young professionals, discussing their careers, their leadership journey, and their community's current needs, essentially learning servant leadership from people who have walked the walk. Another one of the ways KCYP has served the community is by collecting donations for blessing boxes. That's something we try and routinely do. So it was bring a couple canned goods, get a free drink at Greener Pastures, and we were able to fill up about 11 different boxes, and that was a great impact. We had some individuals who filled up boxes in the morning, and by the time I was coming back from Columbia to refill boxes, they had already been cleaned
They're
out.
empty.
So it just shows how much of a need we have in the community for these pro bono resources that people can do. It doesn't take KCYP having an event for you to go fill up a blessing box. We pass out the sheets to our membership if they ask for them. And they're able to go on a weekend, collect canned goods, go by the one in the Piggly Wiggly parking lot and just drop off some things that you might have seen in the store that were essential for somebody. So you never know what can make a difference, and that's been a good way for us to give back. And then the last pillar, entrepreneurship, trying to build yourself. We've got a great event at the Buckley School of Public Speaking. It's called Mastering Effective Communication. So we're just going to be sitting with one of their presenters who's going to talk with us about some different topics. I'm not sure exactly what all that's going to entail, but they're such a great resource. People work with them globally, and it's just something that you don't think of that's in our backyard. But they've been really generous to us the last couple of years, having us in their space and letting some of their experts come and talk to us. So we really appreciate the Buckley School.
That is wonderful. And what a huge asset to the Kershaw County Young Professionals to have something like the Buckley School to be able to access that resource because it's right here in Kershaw County. Another one of the many things that make Kershaw County special, I think.
Absolutely.
So how do the monthly coffee meetups strengthen connection and collaboration among your membership?
Yeah, well, you'll see here, I am a coffee guy, so selfishly,
Cheers.
it's my favorite nonchalant gathering we have. It's not included in the 6 events. It's something we just do bonus monthly. We don't really do a June or July coffee hour just because it's a little hot then. But it's just a good way to be consistent with our membership. Typically, our 6 programs are every other month. So having something to consistently meet and check in with people, tell them what's coming up over the hill with the programming that we have has really helped us build a more consistent base the last couple years. So it also just keeps me honest and focused on engaging with our membership, because one of the things I'm really trying to focus on as the chair these past 2 years is knowing what our membership wants to do. So we kind of had a roller coaster where we've been focusing on more entrepreneurship events or focusing on more social gatherings and trying to make those mutual connections. But, people's needs and wants change. So
Right.
it's just good to, try and keep a hand on the pulse and know what people want to do.
So you mentioned a couple of times the 6 events a year. Can you give us an idea of what those would look like if somebody was considering KCYP?
Right. Yeah. So those 6 events, it's right around those pillars. So we typically try and do 2 different community service projects. So like I said, we had that happy hour where we gave back to the blessing boxes. Then we also had, we participate in the chamber after hours at Christmas, every Christmas, and we ask for people to bring toys. Those toys have been donated to the Camden JCs to give those out at Christmas time through their stocking fund. So that's a great philanthropy. It impacts a lot of families in Kershaw County. I'm also affiliated with the JCs. So we give toys back to 160 individual kids every year, and seeing the smiles on those kids' faces of, who wouldn't have a Christmas otherwise has always been a treat. So
Right.
those are the servant leadership ones. We've really had good benchmark events with the Buckley School. So the Buckley School we've done for probably the last 4 years. Then we'll do a different business series or something along the lines. I think it was a year and a half ago or so. We did a business series where it was the life of a business, starting a business. We brought in some accountants, some legal experts who, basically just told you what is an LLC, what are the forms and accounts you need to have as a banker to have a business, to run a business. How do you operate QuickBooks? And then the middle is managing growth and sustaining. And then the end of that business series was succession planning. How do you sell,
Right.
planning for taxes, or other options for you as someone who's sunsetting a business. And then on the networking side, we had 2 great networking events. That Lunch with Leaders event, that I kind of think is an entrepreneurship opportunity and
Right.
just networking. It's a lot of people who I haven't seen in a long time, or other people haven't seen in a long time, and they're reconnecting them, whether it was Harrison Goodwin last week, meeting his students who are, those in the district who have known him for years. But it's a great opportunity for people to just meet and connect and share stories. And then we had another event to kick off the year, which was headshots and handshakes. That was,
Oh, fun.
yeah, it was at the Art Center. It was simply just drinks, little hors d'oeuvres, and then you get a free headshot. So we had Hannah Wages, photographer. She's a young professional who was at American Patriot. We connected. She did photography on the side, and so we wanted her to snap some headshots for us. So she did a fantastic job, and that was a good way for everybody to get an update on their.
That's a nice win-win right there. So you have a young professional who's trying to build her photography business, and you all, what a great concept.
Absolutely.
Let's move on to the impact in the community for Kershaw County young professionals. So how do you see KCYP helping shape the next generation of business and community leaders in Kershaw County?
Yeah, so it's really just having those connections, the people, the leaders that I know, my mentors currently, who talk about how they used to get together on a regular basis. I mean, it's just that consistency of being with the people who are your peers, whether it's not, it can be non-industry specific, but I mean, we're all in this together as a community, as Kershaw County residents. I mean, we want to see the change. We know the change that's healthy, and it's just good to know the like-minded people around you. So I've really enjoyed KCYP. I think, seeing the natural connections that people make whether it blossoms to a personal relationship or a business relationship, it's fun for me to just see that blossom. So that's been something I really appreciate about KCYP is just the connections that you make. They're small, but they snowball.
And with time, like you're saying, and just I've learned over the years, and I'm not a young professional, I'm an old professional.
Well, anyone young at heart.
That's right. And it brings another point, and great point. How old or young do you have to be to join KCYP, and how does all that work?
It's 21 to 45 on the sheet, but if you're wanting to just come out and say hello for an event or two, we'd love to have you. Just to check out what it's about. If you're a business owner who wants to see what the group's about, maybe you have a young professional who you might want to join the group, but both of y'all are unsure. Come to a coffee hour. We'd love to have you and just talk with you. I mean, we're a fun bunch. We're not gonna sink our teeth into you. So we're just hanging out, making those connections, and trying to better ourselves, better our community,
Build those relationships. And sometimes the best ideas come when you're just at your coffee or a business after hours or wherever, those sort of relaxed environments where ideas are more free flowing, that sort of thing. So what motivated you personally to get involved with Kershaw County Young Professionals?
Well, I don't want to say I was voluntold, but I have their friends in the community who wanted me to get more involved. So it was just part of that. I mean, networking is a part of my trade. Knowing what's going on in the community is good for me and as a banker. So that's really why I wanted to join. But I mean, it's also who I knew that was involved that got me involved. So I knew the individuals that were on the committee, and they're a fun crowd. So I knew that I was going to have a good time, and we've grown together, we've laughed together, and it's been fun to be a part of KCYP. I just I wish there were more people around us to do it, and to join in the fun.
And that's one of the things, you're always looking for new members. If a young professional moves into Kershaw County in any type of business, they're welcome to join. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's certainly a lot more white collar industries. But we've seen people from blue collar industries join KCYP and still get something out of it. I mean, there really is something for everybody. I believe that. It's a fun way to get involved, and whether you're with us for just an event every couple months or you're there for every event, I think that it could be valuable to you. We don't put a lot of pressure on people to come to every event. I mean, we of course want people to attend and get the value out of your membership. So that's why we try and push so hard for people to join and to attend all of our events, is because we do see the value in them as a committee.
Mentioning membership and joining, if I wanted to join Young Professionals, how would I go to the Chamber website? How would I do that? Is there a cost? What does all that look like?
So the Chamber website's the best way to do that. So you could sponsor as a business. We did just reduce our sponsorship size. So our sponsorship tiers were 500, 1,000, and 2,500, 5,000, and we cut everything in half to make it more accessible, just because we did have some self-employed business owners who we thought would buy a sponsorship at a lower level. It's 2 sponsorships at the lowest level for $250, and then at the highest at $2,500 you get 10 memberships.
So is that sort of like 10 seats or spots or whatever in KCYP?
Correct. And then on the individual level, if you are a chamber member business and you have just one individual looking to get involved, that cost is $60. If you are a non-chamber member business, that cost is $75.
So that's very affordable. That's annual.
That's annual. And our fiscal year runs from August to May, pretty much. We're pretty much on the school year cycle, just because we like our summertime too. But yeah, it's very accessible, and especially it being early spring. If you want to ask about prorating dues or being on a different schedule, essentially, for your membership, we could certainly work that out so you're still getting the same value. We don't want to shortchange anybody on the events that they're seeing. So we all know young professionals, especially if you're paying on your own dime, we want to work with you. We want you to get out there and get connected. We don't want money to be the factor that keeps you from coming out.
Keeps you from joining.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
And we got to be charitable with especially as a young group, I want to be charitable with our programming, allowing people to come in and see what we're about. I think that that's just good for us to gain some community advocates and build that general goodwill with the community. Because as a young group, I mean, this is why we're doing these interviews, is because people don't know us. We're growing, and we're really trying to capitalize on all the growth that Kershaw County is seeing.
That is awesome. So are there any upcoming events sort of right around the corner between maybe now and, spring to early summer that folks should be looking
Yes.
out for?
So if you're hearing this week, and you want to join KCYP or are a current member, you've probably been seeing on our Facebook and Instagram posts about the Buckley School event, and that is on March 11th. So that's Mastering Effective Communication. That's our last larger event for the year. The next two things that we're doing are kind of smaller as a committee. So we're going to help the chamber out with a tequila tent at the chamber golf tournament. So if you need to,
Fun.
if you want to play golf, you want to have a good time, come see KCYP on one of the tee boxes. We'll be serving up some margaritas. And then, outside of that, we do for the legislative breakfast that's coming up. I'm not sure when that's scheduled, but we typically try and go to that, sponsor a table, have that opportunity to attend the event, open to our membership, and then have a conversation with one of those local leaders after the fact, just to ask some questions. So typically we've met with Cody Mitchell because he is a young professional. He's really influential in his district, super young guy, but super senior in the South Carolina caucus. So, we appreciate his time and expertise in sharing what young professionals can do to get involved politically or community-wide, so that they can better themselves.
Awesome. So lots of fun things coming up with Kershaw County Young Professionals. Is there anything else you'd like to share as we wrap up, John, that we haven't covered?
No, I don't have too much else to share. I just want to say thank you to anyone who's been involved with KCYP. We're a small group. We're really excited to grow and to be a part of this community. We're not going anywhere. So you're going to keep hearing from us, whether you join us or not. So we hope that you do join us. We hope that you'll be at a coffee hour at an event in the future. But thank you so much for having me, Patty.
And everybody's welcome you can visit even if you're over the age of 45. So I might come visit.
Yeah, come on.
That'll be fun. Well, John, we're just tickled to death that you were willing to be our first podcast for the Kershaw County Current. So we're excited about adding this to our way of communicating the great stories that make Kershaw County special. And so thank you so much for being here with me this morning.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
You too.